Hello and welcome. My name is Paul Markham. In this series of videos we're going to demonstrate how to install your multifunction device. Okay, so in this video we're going to have a look at setting up your email so you can scan to email on your device. Right, what I've done here is I've set up a Gmail account just for a demonstration of this video. The address is okiremote@gmail.com. It's just to prove that we can send out to a cloud and it can be sent out to any server. A lot of the time you would probably be sending your emails internally, so you would have your own mail or exchange server. So I'll show you where to put the settings in here. So let's have a look. We go into our admin, we go to our network, and we go to our mail server. Right, so we have a few settings here that we need to change. Smtp send, obviously that's enabled. Smtp server. Now, so this server is the address of your mail server. You'll need to ask your administrator for this address, or if you want, maybe if you have a client, an Outlook client, you can go into tools and accounts and you'll find out what the address of your internal server is there. Probably best that you ask your administrator, because there may be some sort of usernames and passwords that you need to put in there. So just for the purposes of this video, I've set up this Gmail account. So let's have a look at that. So how do I find out where that is? I'm using Gmail. It could be Hotmail, it could be Yahoo, whatever. So what I did was I went to Google and I typed in what are the Gmail's SMTP settings, and here they are. So it shows me here that it should be smtp@gmail.com, the port it's using and the type of encryption it's using as well here. So let's have a look back here. So there's the server. I just copy and pasted it in there. Usually if it's an internal server you're using port 25. If I pick this I get my 465, and if I look back here I see 465. Okay, and the username and password, obviously authentication method, will be SMTP. And I know the username and password. So if you were going to a POP server, you would put the address or the IP address of the POP server that you're going out to, and in here you'll put the username and password of that address, of that server, sorry. Now here you can just put scanner at OKI or scanner at whatever the name of your company is. It doesn't really make any difference. It's not going to make any difference to the settings. It's just important that you get these right, so that you have your mail server address or IP address, whatever it is, the port number it's using, and the encryption type, and the username and password. I have found that if you're using an internal server, an exchange server, you don't need the username and password. Sometimes people do, but mostly it's not set. So you can just simply put in this the IP address of your server, and away it goes. Now another important thing is in the TCP/IP settings, especially if you're going out, the gateway is important. So you need to make sure that when the mail knows where to go when it's going out. So this is the router gateway. The DNS setting as well is important. So in here I've put the DNS, whatever your DNS in your office is. Again, your administrator will give you this. I have put 8888 in here because this is Google's DNS server. So I've put that in there. It just because it might just get there a little bit quicker. That's all. No other reason than that. We don't really need to use wins. I have that in there, but you don't need to use that. The rest of the settings are not too important for the rest of this video anyway, so we'll just cancel out of that. It'll be a bit quicker. Now a nice little setting that we have here is alerts. Now what the alerts are is, say if your toner is low, you've got a paper jam, you can put in an email address in here. You can type in an email address in here and it'll give you can set up an alert, as you can see here, for if it needs paper, if it needs toner, or there's jams and anything like that. So you can set up alerts. Most people don't use it because they just get inundated with emails for every single thing the printer does, but it is there. It's a nice little option. But here's what's handy. This guy here, if you go to test, we can put in an email address. I should have one there. Yeah, OKI remote, and do test. Okay, or okay. Now if you get this back, this means it's worked. If you don't and you get a transmission error, there's no point in even looking at the machine yet. We need to just stay here and get this working first. So it's saying that that this has worked okay. It's not giving a transmission error, so we'll be pretty happy that that has arrived in our mailbox. So let's have a look here, and there it is. Our test mail has arrived in. Okay. Now there's no attachment to that because I've only done a test mail. So let's have a quick look at that again. Our mail server. So we'll make sure that we have our email, our Exchange server, or our POP server, whatever you're using. Make sure you have the address for that. You may be able to get that if it's Vodafone, Aircom, Yahoo, whatever it is. Type it in like I did there and get the settings and what it's using, and the username and password and type of authentication method and type of encryption. Make sure that that's working. Check that your DNS is okay, and so that the file knows where to go on its way out. It needs to have some path out to the outside world, so make sure that you have that set up. And then in your email and alerts, this is very handy to test it. And you can also change it in here if that's not working. That needs to come back with transmission completed. If it doesn't, it's not going to work on the machine. You need to get that working there first. Okay, so I'm going to go to the machine now, and I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to send an email from the machine. Okay, so I just sent an email from the machine. It's scanning there. And it's going to scan hopefully into my Gmail account. Okay, and I scanned it in color, so it could take a little while to come in. Okay, let's refresh this. There we go. It just didn't refresh the screen. Right, there we go. And now it's come up as this address because I've logged into Gmail to send a file, but that would usually come up with your own email address. Sorry, the scanner's email address into your own email address. So let's just have a quick view of this, and it should be a test page. Okay, so there's our test page that we sent. Okay, and so that's scanning to emails. So just make sure you get all your SMTP settings or POP settings, whatever you're using, and make sure you have your passwords. If you have all of that, it should work quite fine. Again, talk to your administrator and you should be able to get all that settings from him. Okay, that's it for this video.